The fluorescent hum of the hospital corridor buzzed like a trapped fly, cutting through the silence of 2 a.m. Jack Harper, calloused hands wrapped around a flickering ceiling light, balanced on a rickety ladder in St. Mary's Medical Center. A single dad, he was used to late nights, whether it was soothing his daughter Lily's nightmares or picking up extra shifts as the hospital's maintenance man to cover her medical bills. At 38, Jack's life was a patchwork of duct-tape dreams and stubborn hope, stitched together for the sake of his 8-year-old, who lay in a bed 2 floors up, fighting leukemia with a courage that broke his heart. The light flickered again, mocking his efforts. Jack muttered under his breath, twisting wires with hands that hadn't known rest in years. He hadn't planned on being here this late, but the oncology ward's lights had gone haywire, and the night nurses had begged him to stay. For the kids, they'd said, and Jack, who knew the weight of those words better than anyone, couldn't say no. A soft shuffle broke his focus. Bare feet slapped against the cold linoleum, and Jack glanced down to see a woman standing below, her silk gown shimmering under the half-working lights. She was maybe 30, with dark hair spilling over her shoulders and eyes that held a storm of emotions he couldn't quite read. No shoes, no coat, just a hospital bracelet dangling from her wrist, and a look that said she was running from something or toward it. "You're working late," she said, her voice low but steady, like she was used to being heard. Jack wiped sweat from his brow, offering a tired smile. "Lights don't fix themselves. You okay, miss? Kinda late for a stroll." She didn't answer right away, just tilted her head, studying him like he was a puzzle. "I'm Clara," she said finally. "Clara Wentworth." The name hit Jack like a stray spark. Wentworth, as in the Wentworth Foundation, the family that owned half the city's real estate and funded this very hospital. An heiress, standing barefoot in a hospital corridor at 2 a.m. It didn't add up. "Jack Harper," he said, climbing down the ladder. "Just the guy keeping the lights on." Clara's lips twitched, not quite a smile. "I couldn't sleep. Too much noise in my head." She gestured vaguely, her bracelet catching the light. "I saw you working. You don't look like you're here for the paycheck." Jack chuckled, though it was hollow. "Paycheck's nice, but it's for my kid. Lily. She's upstairs." He didn't say more. The weight of Lily's illness was a language he didn't trust strangers to speak. Clara nodded, like she understood more than he'd said. "Stay until it's over," she murmured, almost to herself. "Ma'am." Jack frowned, unsure if he'd heard right. She met his eyes, her gaze piercing. "The lights. Stay until they're fixed." "I'll wait." Jack didn't know why an heiress cared about a flickering bulb, but something in her voice, raw, almost pleading, made him nod. "All right. Won't take long." He climbed back up, expecting her to leave, but Clara stayed, leaning against the wall, barefoot and unyielding. They didn't talk much at first, just the hum of the hospital and the clink of his tools filling the silence. But as minutes turned to an hour, she started asking questions, small ones, about his work, his life. Jack, guarded at first, found himself talking about Lily, her love for drawing stars, her stubborn refusal to eat hospital jello, the way she'd whisper, "You're my hero, Dad," even when he felt like anything but. Clara listened, really listened, in a way that made Jack feel seen for the first time in years. Then, out of nowhere, she said, "I'm here because I'm running out of time." Jack paused, screwdriver in hand. "You sick?" She shook her head, a bitter smile flickering. "Not like that. My family, they've decided my life for me. Marriage, business, all of it. I came here tonight to sign papers, to fund a new wing for this place. But I stayed because I don't know who I am anymore outside their name." Jack didn't know what to say. His world was hospital bills and bedtime stories. Hers was boardrooms and legacies. But her words hit a nerve. Both of them were fighting battles bigger than themselves, both tethered to love and duty. "Sounds like you're carrying a lot," he said finally. "But you're here, not at some fancy gala. That's something." Clara's eyes softened. "You're here too, fixing lights at 2 a.m. for kids you don't even know. That's more than something." The conversation shifted after that, like a door creaking open. They talked about dreams, Jack's old hope of being an artist, Clara's secret wish to teach kids to read. They laughed, soft and careful, about the absurdity of life. When the lights finally steadied, casting a warm glow over the corridor, Jack felt a pang of reluctance. This strange, fleeting connection with a barefoot heiress was the most human he'd felt in months. Clara didn't leave. Instead, she followed him to the break room, where he brewed them coffee from a machine that groaned like it was on its last legs. "Come upstairs with me," she said suddenly. "I want to meet Lily." Jack hesitated. "She's sleeping. And it's hard, seeing her like that." Clara's hand brushed his arm, light but firm. I know hard. Let me be there. Against his better judgment, Jack led her to Lily's room. His daughter lay small and pale, a constellation of star stickers glowing on her bedside table. Clara didn't flinch at the tubes or the monitors. She just sat by Lily's bed, whispering about the stars, how they were wishes waiting to be made. Jack watched, throat tight, as Clara drew a tiny star on Lily's hand with a marker from her pocket, promising it would keep her safe. The next morning, Jack assumed Clara would vanish back to her world. But she didn't. She returned with books for Lily, then art supplies, then a check that covered every unpaid bill Jack had been drowning under. He tried to refuse, pride stinging, but Clara just said, "You're not alone, Jack. Let someone help you shine." Weeks passed, and Clara became a fixture, barefoot no more, but still real, still kind. She read to the kids in the ward, funded art classes, and sat with Jack through Lily's worst nights. One evening, as Lily slept, her latest skin showing signs of remission, Clara told Jack the truth. She'd walked away from her family's plans, choosing instead to fund a children's art program at the hospital. "You and Lily reminded me who I could be," she said, tears in her eyes. "Someone who stays until it's over." Jack took her hand, his own eyes burning. "You gave us more than money, Clara. You gave us hope." The hospital corridor glowed brighter that night, not just from the lights Jack had fixed, but from the warmth of two people who'd found each other in the dark. For every parent fighting for their child, for every soul searching for purpose, their story whispered a truth. Kindness, however small, can light up the world. And as Lily drew stars from her hospital bed, Jack and Clara knew they'd stay together until every wish came true.